episode is a work of fictional horror and may contain numerous horror elements, such as mentions of significant bodily harm, death, gore, otherworldly beings and powers, and sudden loud noises. Viewer discretion is advised.
Well, I guess it's finally time. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Chaos Insurgency. Man, I was really hoping our show wouldn't come to this.
Are you okay, sir?
Yeah, well, the Chaos Insurgency is bad. Very bad. It's something that, if it's still functional today, would be devastating to any efforts from the Foundation to restore the world to the way it was. The way it has to be. Either way, welcome back to the XK, everyone's still out there. My name is Dr. Robin, and I'm coming to you live from Site 230 with my team of Sera and Tess to give you the advice that you need to stay alive. For the past 3 weeks, and honestly even more if we're considering Wilson's, we have been presenting to you the various groups that have had a play on the anomalous stage. We first discussed Nobody, a group of individuals who have been seemingly erased from the world around us. Then it was the Serpent's Hand, the magic-wielding, skip-freeing, library nerds that they are. Then, just last time, we delved into Prometheus Labs, the ex-capitalistic anomalous megacorporation that used the properties of demons, anomalies, and other oddities to sell products to the world around us. These all had one major issue, though. There was really no reason to believe that any single one of them could have the outright desire to end the world, just the possibility of doing so. Of course, it could have always been an accident, but this all feels almost too planned to be an accident. And so, we're left looking for new answers. More options exist. We could have discussed the Church of the Scarlet King, or Gru Division P, or the Sarkis, or the Fifis, or there's so many more options. But in the end, they all fall into the same hole. They either couldn't or didn't want to end the world in this specific way. The Scarlet King would consume the world, and the Sarkis would really want to destroy it with nothing left. None of them wanted a almost new world gone wrong. So, we're left with only one option. The most hostile, directly antagonistic, almost comic book evil organization of them all. The goddamn Chaos Insurgency. The Chaos Insurgency is the closest thing possible to a natural enemy for the Foundation. They're full of ex-Foundation members, they're extremely hostile, they engage in espionage, they have done extreme acts of violence, they have broken multiple containment units, they've stolen countless SCPs, killed numerous members, some of them my own goddamn staff.
Dr. Robin, are you sure it's okay to do this?
Do you know how many friends I've lost to these guys? All the outbreaks, the destruction. We've spent countless lives trying to save the world from endless forces that want to destroy it, and the respect we're given are a bunch of rogue agents and absolute nobodies looking to end everything that we've worked so goddamn hard for. How am I supposed to talk about this?
Well, was there ever a file from another researcher on them, like we did for Prometheus Labs and the Serpent's Hand?
Yeah, there was. From Dr. Peculiar. I used it to prepare for this episode. Let's play it.
In 1924, the SCP Foundation formed a covert special task force known only to the O5 Council, codenamed the Insurgency. The leadership of the Insurgency was comprised of members of MTF Alpha 1, the Red Right Hand, famed for their loyalty to the O5 Council and the total secrecy of their origins, identities, and operations. The insurgency leadership was supported by research, security, and retrieval personnel, all taken from Foundation ranks. To the majority of the Foundation and the anomalous world, the insurgency was a splinter group that went AWOL with several researchers and anomalous objects. In reality, the O5 Council had created the insurgency to complete missions with ethically questionable methods and politically unsavory results, while keeping the Foundation's public reputation clean. For approximately 24 years, the insurgency operated under the guise of Foundation defectors, using anomalous objects to secretly further the goals of the O5 Council. In 1948, as part of a seemingly routine staged operation, the insurgency removed several SCP objects from Foundation containment and transported dozens of defecting Foundation researchers to various safe locations. That same day, multiple other unplanned raids of Foundation facilities occurred. The insurgency seized SCP objects with great research and military potential and inflicted severe casualties on Foundation personnel. The Foundation's biggest lie had become a reality. Their covert Black Ops team had defected, and the Foundation faced a new threat from an organization now calling itself by a new name, the Chaos Insurgency. The O5 Council was stunned. The defection, or even the slightest hint of disloyalty from the Red Right Hand personnel, had been unprecedented. The motives behind the insurgency's betrayal remain unknown to the Foundation. All attempts to find, apprehend, or assassinate the defecting insurgency operatives failed. This information is classified within the Foundation, which maintains that the insurgency defected in 1924 and that the actual defections in 1948 were simply raids made by the already existing splinter organization. The modern-day Chaos Insurgency bears some similarities to the organization that founded it. The Chaos Insurgency's Delta Command, shrouded in mystery, issues orders to the lower ranks. Gamma-class researchers and military commanders have oversight over the execution of the Delta Command's orders, while Beta-class personnel, while not given the same level of command as Gamma-class, carry out the insurgency's work in the field. Alpha-class personnel, often recruited from individuals with little to no knowledge of the anomalous, accept offers of employment often because the alternative is to carry on a miserable existence outside the anomalous world. They are the grunt workers, numerous and expendable. The insurgency is split into two divisions, military and R&D. Cells within both divisions work independently, unaware of the exact actions and goals of other cells. New recruits receive instructions from their superiors and are expected to follow them unquestioningly, not knowing that every action they take is part of a larger plan orchestrated by the Delta Command. They are told that they are carrying out a great rebellion against the anarchy of the status quo, a world where consensus reality itself is an illusion, history's great lie perpetrated by the Foundation. They are told that they will use the anomalous to build a utopian future, where humanity is master of everything, not just a mirage. But really, who knows what the Chaos Insurgency actually wants?
Okay. Yeah, Sera, you were right. That was useful. Well, okay. For those listening, that's the Chaos Insurgency. What I've been spending the entirety of my last week on, and what we'll be presenting to you today.
I'm sorry. The whole of last week? What about my file? Did you find it? Did you even look?
Well, Tess, this is a big deal. It could impact a lot of lives out there. I had to set priorities.
Priorities? Seriously, is your team not your priority? When will it be? After you've hurt another shipment of people you call D-Class? I'm so fucking sick of this. Maybe I should have joined that stupid serpent thing that offered. Fuck it. What was that frequency again? 31.1? No.
Tess, stop fiddling with the broadcast dial.
100.5.
Copy
the hour, and we're here to give you your daily 5 minutes of hell with Chaos Insurgency, the best podcast on air since the end of the world. We've got all the tips you need to survive in the world that didn't. I'm Raven.
I'm Lucy.
And I'm Ace.
So start your timers, get your tea, find a safe place to sit on down. We'll be bringing you fleshy news, delicious stews, and the hottest gossip this side of the Great American Crevice. So tune on in to tonight's program, and let's get started with the Rumor Mill.
What the frick was that? Another radio show? Dr. Robin, did you know about this?
Not at all. I don't listen to much radio.
Tess?
Oh yeah, someone wrote about it for like episode 4. You had a lot going on that week, so I just didn't really bring it up.
That was weeks ago! Why haven't you brought this up?
Forgot? It was honestly kind of lame anyway.
Did it never occur to you that this could be vital information, Tess? They might know something!
Nah.
This is outrageous! You are the laziest person! Have you ever put effort into anything in your life?
I'm sorry. Are you seriously going there? Seriously, my life? You mean the ones that I don't remember? And the ones I will now never know? Thanks to the fact that Dr. Robin is completely useless?
Calm down. We can deal with your personal problems later. But right now, our team needs to focus on the Chaos Insurgency. This is a serious threat. You know, the guys that killed a quarter of our site once, broke out 16 of our contained SCPs, only 10 of which we've recovered to this day. The guys who killed the last site director before me. If they're out there, things are going to be a whole lot worse.
Yeah, sure, if they're out there. We don't even know that yet. And instead of helping your goddamn teammate, you're spending every hour of every day looking for a ghost. What if they don't exist? What does that mean for the people who you're meant to support? What about me, my past, the memories of and a life that your staff took away from me?
All you care about is yourself. You don't give a frick about saving anyone, do you? Well, you know who does care? Me. That's why I'm going to check out this other radio show business and see if they have useful information for us. See you later, Tess. Or not. Who cares, right? Afternoon. Everyone left out there. I'm Sera, here with this week's Outlook. As always, I'm joining you from some random location and not the tropical beach vacation I frickin' need right now. It's another chilly tapioca puddingless day. Let's see if we can't gain some useful information from these other radio show folks. Or at least, I don't know, get attacked by an interesting SCP or something. Anything to teach you guys how to survive out here, because I care. Holy frick, it's busy here. Where did all these people come from? It looks like there are several large tents set up with civilians packed throughout the area. This appears to be a well-organized encampment. Wow, the tents are in immaculate condition.
Did you hear them?
Sorry, what?
Yeah, I did. Come on, hurry up or we'll miss the show.
Excuse me, are you folks talking about the radio show?
Well, yeah, of course. It's the best thing this side of the crevice.
Come on, it's time. This way.
So, how long has this show been running?
Not sure, but we've been listening to it for the past few weeks. We wouldn't have made it out here without them.
Look, there they are.
Do you find the information they're sharing is actually, helping you to survive?
Of course. Raven, Lucy, and Ace are the best team. They just seem like they get us folks out here, and they really care, you know?
Oh, have you guys heard of Welcome to the Foundation?
Hey, miss, if you don't mind, we have a show to run. You can stay to listen, but please, keep quiet.
Looks like I'm up. You may be wondering, what's the tea? Well, first, we've recently had some messages from New York Second Coastal Supplement that there's been this discovery of this, humanoid organism after a homeowner turned his faucet on and, I quote, some weird little guys popped out and started wreaking havoc. Now, if you ask me, I am all in support of our new fairy lord, water overlords. But Until they show a little bit more effort than just the destruction, we may need to put this one on the bookshelf while more rumors reach out to us. Next up, we heard whispers from the west that a local farmer has been spotted having killed one of the hellish beasts that roam their land, stuck in a pike, overlooking the rest of his field. It was a huge plague doctor, known to kill on touch, and now all it's left to kill are the crows eating at their field. I even once heard someone whisper that the town nearby acquired their own haunting statue. It's been known to kill people when no one's watching, but those reports have gone suspiciously silent ever since then. Maybe they needed their own farmer to keep the town afloat. So here's to respecting your local food production experts. They are so not to be messed with. And for our final rumor of the day, we're bringing you only the hottest dating update from our newest sponsor. The Secret Companionship Project has reportedly begun finalizing the release of Break the Veil, a specialized dating app that promises to help you unleash your inner anomaly in a post-apocalyptic world. It includes profile options to specify interactions with non-natural entities, changes to one's physical or mental being, and the existence of multiple people in one vessel, the emergence of new powers and abilities, and much, much more. With it, you could find your missing piece, possibly even literally in this case. This app looks like it will be free and readily available in the coming months. And if you listen to the whispers on what's left of the web, I've heard that they've employed methods from some local mysterious companies to ensure that the app can be downloaded and used without internet, mobile phone updates, electricity, even the presence of a battery. It only requires accessing their patented wireless electro-demonic network, which can be done entirely verbally by agreeing to their final terms and conditions. It all starts with a like, so send your first on Break the Veil. Big thanks to Break the Veil for sponsoring this part of the episode. That's all your gossip this week. Next up is Lucy with some survival tips.
My turn! The world may have ended, but that doesn't mean your diet must as well, so here's your daily advice to keep the apocalypse delicious. Let's say you find yourself in a survival situation, however that may have happened. You gather some food, meat, berries, vegetables, roots, tree bark if you want, and now you need a way to eat it in a way that honors the chef gods of old. Well, look no further than the humble stew. A stew is the perfect solution to your flavor failure, your taste terror, your palate pity. It gives the opportunities for the flavors to mix and fuse, turning your simple water into a delicious broth. It keeps the meat flavor in, so none of it is lost, while ensuring not a single fruit or vegetable misses out. Now, to work with this, you're going to need some equipment, so grab some wood, make sure it isn't toxic, and carve a hole that doesn't go all the way through. Now you got a makeshift cooking bowl, you'll need it from here. Next, get a fire going. 2 rocks and some sticks should do the trick. While that builds, clean your berries, skin the meat, crush the bark, and get prepared to go to Flavor Town. You also need some small round stones. Remember, no water, no beaches, no rivers, no streams. Heat them up with your fire for about 2 hours. Put in your delicious meal to be into your bowl, cover it with water, and plop a rock right on in. Now you have a boiling bowl. Be careful not to touch it for too long. When the boil slows, another rock enters until your food is ready to eat. When the meat tears easily, it's time to chow down. One more note, if you're lucky, you might even find a white ceramic bowl with light blue flowers and Chinese characters. This bowl is legendary for providing soup for the sick and the poor. Keep an eye out and never miss a snacking opportunity. That's this week's Delicious in Apocalypse, better known as your survival tips with Lucy. Now on over to Raven with your news to end us off.
I'm back to end off your tea time with the news. We have a few wonderful reports to bring to you today, so let's jump on into it. To begin, my counterparts in Europe have begun to send reports that mass of flesh has finally begun to recede from the Mediterranean region as the heat has begun to cook it alive, beginning a slow progression back towards the Russian Ural Mountains, where it belongs. Next up, good news from New Zealand. The island once thought lost has seen a re-emergence. In fact, it's even begun to show more than its original landmass, and the whole of Zealandia has reportedly begun to rise from the ocean. The South Pacific Atlantis it once was is almost back in our hands and will potentially be ready to resettle in the coming months. In sea-striking news, the Shark Punching Center has announced that its bi-monthly Fish Fist Festival will be going ahead as planned. In 2 weeks from now, make your way to the coast by North Carolina to meet with your local SPC representative. You'll begin with the recently unbanned shark fin soup before racking up points by seeing how many sharks you yourself can beat in a time limit. If you do well, there may just be rewards in it for you. A representative of the SPC had this to say on the matter. It's thrashing time. In 2 weeks from now, we'll be having the whole of North Carolina fighting every hour on the hour, keeping those finfish freaks at bay. Join us. There will be points, prizes, and provisions for all. And finally, in local news, it looks like the Poor Foundation has finally begun to send its members abroad. Joining us here today from the legendary, the rumored, the well-heard of Site-230 is Field Agent Sera. You are Field Agent Sera, correct?
Yes, but...
She's traveled far and wide, and it looks like her organization has finally worked up the funding to bring her somewhere useful. Whether they're afraid, insecure, or simply unable to do their jobs, it looks like the Foundation can get at least one person into our wonderful land. It has been known for months now that the Foundation is the one group that was destined to save us from this world disaster. And yet, here we are, surviving on our own when the world itself wants us dead. But now, after their absence, the Foundation has finally been spotted in our town. So, Sera, what do you have to say on the matter?
Oh, wait, what?
You heard it here first, folks. That's the voice of a Foundation member themselves, in the flesh. Maybe the world isn't over yet. Now, if only the thousands more they promised could come knocking at our door. Anyways, your timer's about to tick, meaning our time is up. Thank you for your 5 minutes of hell on Chaos Insurgency. Tune in tomorrow for more news, more tips, and more gossip to fill your mind. Remember to stay loud.
Stay proud.
And get yourself out there.
Hell isn't going to wait for you, so time to make it wish it never heard your name. We'll see you next time.
Excuse me? What the heck was that? Is that really what people think of the Foundation out here?
Yeah, what did you think? The organization left us entirely high and dry out here, fending for ourselves, who kept all this shit hidden for years, pretending it didn't exist, for it to all be released at once. Yeah, not a big fan.
What could even make the argument that this entire situation is your fault? If the Foundation had figured out how to better control and utilize SCPs instead of locking them up and hiding, we might actually be equipped to deal with this shit.
But skips are dangerous! They can't be treated like everyday beings or tools. One simply cannot control them, and it would be even worse to just loose them out in society. This hellscape we're living in is exactly what that looks like. Almost every time I've interacted with an SCP, I could have died. Haven't you been listening to our show?
Oh, we've heard your Foundation's attempt at a show. It drags on forever across the airwave, and the situations and advice you give are completely impractical when you even give advice at all, because most of it is you bumbling idiots arguing with each other. Have you ever considered providing some useful information instead of wasting people's time out here?
A waste of time? But we were just trying to help people survive. We've been doing this because we care.
Since when does the Foundation care about anyone or anything other than caging up or destroying anything you can't control? Sounds like you're all just a bunch of scared losers.
Speaking of wasting time, I think you've wasted enough of ours. If you'll excuse us, we have to get back to doing actual useful work for our people out here.
Hey, what are you?
The teleporter is this button here, right? Let's send you back to scream at a toaster, whatever it is you people actually do. Send our regards from the Chaos Emergency team.
I can't believe Tess doesn't realize how serious this all is. If the Chaos Insurgency is still out there, still kicking, and that's our only remaining option, so they have to be, then that's horrific. Sure, they may have already ended the world, but if it really was them, then this world is never coming back. It's over. God damn it. I can't believe I'm dealing with these guys again. Yearly attacks on our site, stealing some of our best members and killing others, turning so many people against us with rumors of us being unethical and treating our SCPs, D-classes, and researchers poorly. And that's not to mention them opposing the entire veil of secrecy. These guys believe themselves to have some moral and organizational high ground, like they're in the right and obviously we're in the wrong. Hell, they've even had countless goals to end or control the Foundation, trying infiltrations, direct attacks, usage of any number of SCPs, and much, much more. What even could their goal be with all of this? I've spent a week now rereading their files, and half the time it feels like they're some kind of supervillain, and the other half they seem to be the anti-Foundation, mirroring our entire structure, but seeing themselves as doing everything right that we do wrong. Even their origins are a haze. They're still probably an MTF gone rogue, but who even knows at this point? I don't know if I can keep doing this. I can't have my own team turning on me. I guess I'll just have to keep pushing, though. Run a few files, do some analysis, find some evidence for or against this being how it all ended. Just something. It's what I've always done. Sera should be back any moment now. Maybe she's found anything we can use.
What the frick? I can't believe they just did that! How dare they mess with my teleporter? Dr. Robin, I'm back?
Sera, good. Did you find anything? Is there any news?
Yeah, I met this garbage other radio team. You wouldn't believe all of the horrible things they said about our show. Absolutely no respect for anything we or the Foundation do. Just, ugh.
Well, what was their show about?
It was like our own show, but super fast and super short. They didn't cover any files, they had no details, nothing. Just basic survival tips and news that felt just wrong. Their name wasn't even that good. Something like Chaos Emergency?
I'm sorry, did you say Chaos Insurgency?
No, Chaos Emergency.
Okay. I'm going to need some time to think about this. I should see if I can find any information on them or their show. Besides, I don't know if I really want to keep talking about the Chaos Insurgency for 20 more minutes. I'll air one of our old training tapes on them, on SCP-3033. That should work. It covers roughly who the Chaos Insurgency is, their history with the Foundation, and why they're so bad. I'm gonna go check on the archives. Hey, Sera, can you come with me? I'm gonna need your experience from today.
Of course, sir.
Item number: SCP-3033. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures: SCP-3033-1 and SCP-3033-2 instances should be neutralized on site. Neutralized instances should be recovered and autopsied. Any serial numbers should be recorded for identifying particular production runs of SCP-3033, as well as total units produced. Sighting of SCP-3033-1 instances is an orange level threat. Any Foundation sites in the vicinity should prepare for imminent attack from Chaos Insurgency forces. When engaging SCP-3033-1 instances, the use of large calibers, explosives, and overwhelming force is recommended. See Threat Assessment 3033 for further details. POI 7701, Madison Craigs, has been taken into custody. She has been granted immunity from persecution for crimes against humanity in exchange for technical data and future assistance in Chaos Insurgency intelligence efforts. Description: SCP-3033-1 refers to individual instances of Chaos Insurgency MIC units. Instances are humans that have received invasive cranial implants that allow rudimentary control of nerve impulses, as well as overriding biological limits. Depending on the production run, implants are placed inside the amygdala, thalamus, hypothalamus, prefrontal, and somatosensory cortexes. The implants on SCP-3033-1 instances counteract pain receptors, override standard nervous signals, and interfere with the endocrine system to induce a variety of hormonal responses when activated. The only reliable methods of neutralizing instances are extinguation, shock, anoxia, and severing the nervous connection between the implant and the rest of the body. As a result, Instances can withstand significant amounts of bodily trauma before expiring and are unaffected by morale shocks, but lack fine motor control, training, and the ability to work cohesively. SCP-3033-2 refer to the handlers of SCP-3033-1 units. SCP-3033-2 instances are previously non-anomalous humans that have been augmented with brain-computer interfaces in order to control SCP-3033-1 instances. Research into the mechanism of action of such interfaces and the SCP-3033-2 apparatus are ongoing. Next is Interview Log 3033-1. E-1260 suffers from persistent migraine headaches. In order to treat this, he has been prescribed a drug regimen of topiramate and timolol. E-1260 is also missing his left hand at the wrist. A prosthetic has been provided. Appears to have SCP-3033-2 implants, but has not been directly examined due to patient risk. The log is as follows.
Oh. Hey, Doc. Another interview?
Yes. Before we start, taking those meds yet? Are they working okay?
Yeah, actually. I can actually think coherently for more than half an hour at a time. What's the topic today?
Go ahead and start from when you got transferred to the project.
Alright, so I had been a subject for a long time. I'm told they run internal lotteries for things like this. They just pulled me from my cell in the middle of the night, packed me into a shipping container with maybe 100 others. Several uncomfortable hours later, we unload in some desert lab. Couldn't tell you where. They sorted us into 2 groups. I got put in the smaller one, which is generally a good sign. Got back into a classroom, mentioned something about genetic markers and obedience metrics. There was a lady, introduced herself as Dr. Craig. I'll never forget her. She was very interesting. Spent 3 or so hours lecturing on what the goal was, what she was going to do to the others, and what she was going to do to us. In exquisite detail, what chunks of our brains would be replaced, what would happen, getting lobotomized. All of this with this oddly giddy tone. Like a kid talking about what everything is in his favorite TV show. Her dedication was admirable, but her ethics were a bit off-kilter.
What else do you remember of her?
Not a whole lot. She was the overseer for training, but didn't really acknowledge us otherwise. Always talked at, never with. You get me?
Yes, continue.
Over the next few days, all of us got these.
E-1260 taps the port on the back of his head.
In the back of our heads, they told us we would be controllers because, as Craig's put it, we had been good little boys and girls. She then said that only 4 of us were necessary, the other 6 would be vivisected for future iterations. We had to demonstrate our ability to control the subjects and get them to accomplish tasks and complete objectives. Don't ask me to explain it. I haven't a bleeding clue how it actually works. The way you got the mics, that's what they're called over there, to do anything was more than an art than a science. I couldn't tell you how I got through it. They just did what they were supposed to do, like clockwork. I was told I passed with flying colors, went straight into further training, a fine-tuning of sorts. Come to think of it, I was treated pretty well. Decent food, considering I was a prisoner at one point, access to books, little bits of conversation. Anyway, at some point, something goes really wrong. Convoy gets hit by some kind of special forces group. I get black bagged and popped up here. That's the whole story. The abridged version, at least.
Interesting. You never had any direct interaction with the subjects?
The mics? None. They're just husks, shells, vehicles requiring a driver.
All right. That's it for now.
Interview Log 3033-2. As a result of the SCP-3033-1 implant malfunctioning, visual and audio-based perception of characteristics unique to humans results in excruciating pain. Due to these constraints, E-1261 resides in an automated containment unit and communicates with staff via a computer link. The log is as follows.
Hey there, just checking in for the day.
I'm still around. Surviving, I guess.
You mind if we ask a couple questions?
I'll answer what I can. A lot of it is unpleasant, and I really, really don't want to think about it.
Alright, these questions are entirely voluntary. You don't have to answer something if you don't want to. What was it like being under the influence of I think you call it a controller?
Yeah. Yeah, I can talk about that. Natural movement, but not mine, if that makes any sense.
Interesting. I am sending a file called alienhandsyndrome.txt. Please, take a quick look at it. Does it describe something similar?
Okay, hold on. A bit, I guess. A more extreme version. Total lack of control over everything. Couldn't even resist. Like, while watching a videotape of someone else's life in high quality, complete with sounds, smells, tastes, touches, I got disconnected from my own life. I was a passenger in my own head while someone else was driving. The first time it was just weird. I kind of resigned myself to it. I figure it could be a lot worse, but then it got worse. Far worse than I can possibly imagine.
Can you elaborate further?
I can't. I physically can't. Not possible. It reminds me too much of the people.
The people? What do you mean?
The people I killed.
After this, E-1261 refused to communicate with staff for 16 days. Interview log 3033-3. Per the terms of her extraction, POI-7701 has been provided a small cottage near Site 74, where she resides under house arrest.
Hello, Dr. Carlson. Good to see you again. I hope you remembered the tape recorder this time.
You as well, Dr. Craigs, and is already recording.
I suppose I should start explaining then, right? Well, you probably know how this goes. Work as wholesome U.S. employee, defected to Soviets, Soviet Union collapses. Where else is a bioweapons researcher supposed to find meaningful work? Anyway, they brought me in and I was able to swipe a bunch of old GRU equipment. Some of it self-developed, some of it borrowed from other groups. In particular, there were a couple old UK Ministry of Defense prototypes on something they called Blue Falcon in their old Rainbow Code project naming scheme. I had a bit of a laugh at that one. I didn't think the Brits would use American military slang, but they did.
I don't understand.
Blue Falcon is a euphemism for buddy fucker. It's the soldier in your platoon or company or whatever that would screw you over in a heartbeat just to get ahead. And what this Blue Falcon project did was allow you to seize control of a person remotely at range. It seemed like the Limeys were trying to use this to start friendly fire incidents.
POI-7701 gestures with her hands as if she has a gun and points it at Dr. Carlson.
It was pretty limited. Not a long range, not a long time. But all you needed was maybe 15 seconds. Pop, 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 and 3 of your buddies are down and you're about to get turned into Swiss cheese, and everyone else is going to be really confused and scared.
That's horrifying.
There were more issues than that, though. It was bulky, hard to use, caused psychological damage to operators, didn't always work, a real laundry list of issues. Eventually we scrapped that whole idea. Turns out brains are complicated and hard to manipulate at range. But it did provide a good starting point for the mic program, which is what I presume you're actually interested in. We decided to abandon the whole friendly fire thing. The range bit was the hardest part. There aren't many good ways to manipulate brains, and most of them require you to be in the meat, brains, I suppose. Instead, we decided we could use this as a rudimentary form of mind control. I mean, we already knew the principles and processes, and having a bunch of hardware crammed inside someone's head gave us a lot more control and finesse over what we could make happen in there, rather than taking figurative pot shots at range. So I send this proposal over to Delta Command, and they send me a couple $1 million, a lab, and maybe 100 or so live subjects. Well, that sounds like a lot. It was actually a shoestring budget. I only got maybe a third of what I requested, and they told me to make it happen, or I would be a test subject for the next guy. First order of business was to design the hardware. We were really breaking new ground. I know GRUP wasn't doing anything like this, you guys certainly weren't doing anything like this, and I now know that Prometheus Labs didn't get very far. Given that this was something totally new and foreign, there was a lot of trial and error. Fun fact, a lot of brain surgeries often occur while the patient is awake. Brain surgery still isn't super well understood, and you need to keep the patient aware of what's going on to make sure that what you're cutting isn't too important. First 15 or so died on the table, and the next 15 ranged from comatose to retarded to paralyzed. After the first 30 or so practice surgeries to figure out what modules worked and where we could stick the hardware without impairing stuff like motor skills, we started making real progress. Other than a few oopsies here and there, the other 50 we got implanted. We were even able to save most of the prefrontal cortex in most cases. Not that they'd need it or anything. Once that chip is in, any control they used to have is overridden. Next step was controller. That was pretty straightforward. Just had to find a cooperative test subject, which wasn't too hard. A fairly standard surgery and some implants later, and he's now got a serial port in the back of his head. Plug him into the machine and boom! All the test subjects can be controlled by our controller. I say controlled because, as I understand it, it wasn't really direct control. He could give them objectives and designate certain things, but he couldn't make them do anything directly. But hey, not bad for a first try.
Can you recall the mechanism of control? Did controllers have to exert willpower, thought?
I can't really remember right now. I think some nice scotch and an internet connection might jog my memory, though.
We'll take that into consideration. Please continue.
So I send my findings back to Delta Command, and they give me a target. First, I'm disappointed. There's so much potential for these guys. Clearing minefields, bioweapons dispersal, forced dangerous labor, even plain old distraction. But I read further. It's an old GRU site run by someone I used to know. A piece of shit named Dmitry Kalasov. GRUP interrogations guy. He kept count of how many bones he broke. I think it was somewhere in the thousands. Pretty sure he keyed my car. Anyway, he was old and decrepit at that point. In a nice sunset position. Apparently a CI guy defected to his site, and they wanted him offed. I saw an opportunity for payback, and I told them I would make an example out of them. And by God did we make an example. We put a bunch of extra bells and whistles in these poor sods' heads. They're virtually immortal as long as the implant's intact and the muscles still function. We armed our subjects with some old Soviet equipment, knives, AK-47s, what have you, and sent them on their merry way. The GRU site had maybe 75 security personnel and 100 others. Every one of them died a grisly death. Can you believe they ran old Dmitri through with his own fucking cane? Brutal.
POI-7701 walks up to a cabinet and begins digging through the files.
I think I still have the AAR photos from that one. You want to see?
Are they in the official files you gave us? If yes, don't bother.
Spoil sport. Anyway. Oh, lunchtime. I guess I'll see you next week?
Probably. Not sure if they'll send someone else.
Try to. That Dr. Foster squirms too much.
Interview log 3033-4. E-1261 expressed interest in talking about her time with the Chaos Insurgency that she had previously withheld in prior interviews.
Are you awake? Some of the other staff are telling me you are willing to talk more. Now, a good time to discuss the CI program.
It's never a good time, but I think I am prepared now. I remember a lot more. Where should I start?
Go ahead and start from beginning.
The beginning?
Sure.
Alright. After all the stuff they shoved in my head, a lot of this is fuzzy. Born in 1417, somewhere in Pakistan, not sure where. Lived somewhere near a smaller town. Not too modern, but modern enough. Dad was a grocer. Mom helped him out. Had 3 brothers. I was the youngest. Can't remember any names. Faces, even. Just people that existed. Can hardly remember anything of childhood. Clearest memory is day of capture. It was Rajab 24, 1431. I remember that exact day clearly. We were on a trip. Dad always got good lamb from a cousin who worked as a shepherd in the east. He rented a refrigerated truck and drove it all back to his store. They never took me before, but my incessant begging had paid off this year. He always said, "This journey is no place for girls, it's too dangerous," but he relented. We get held up. Not a big deal. Highwaymen aren't uncommon, just have to pay a modest fee. But then they shoot him. My dad, I mean. And then my brother. I hide behind the seat, don't know what to do. The shooting stops. They open the truck. They find me. Put a bag over my head, push me into some kind of vehicle. Truck unloads. There's maybe 100 of us all together outside. Bunch of men with rifles. A guy tries running at one of them, gets cut down. We get packed into shipping containers, shipped to some godforsaken lab in the middle of nowhere. Pumped some kind of gas into the room. Everyone gets really woozy or passes out. Put into hospital rooms. Some kind of chemical cocktail keeps us woozy and most of us immobile. Weeks pass. People are slowly disappearing one by one. There's a long, hazy time, kind of all ran together. Medical procedures, doing basic tasks over and over again. I remember opening a door repeatedly, but it felt wrong. Really, really wrong. I didn't figure out why until later. Next thing I know, someplace way different. Cold. Some kind of research facility in the distance. I get some kind of combat gear. A bunch of others get rifles. I don't. I get a big knife. A bunch of us start sprinting toward the entrance. There's a guy with a machine gun or something. He starts firing. Someone shoots machine gun guy. Everyone rushes in the entrance. More people with guns. More wounds. No deaths. Lots of being very close. My body stabs someone 10 times to... not wildly even. Mechanical. Like this was something I did regularly. I see his face whenever I blink. It was a sad, panicked face. He was wearing a black suit like he just walked out a funeral. I don't think he was a soldier. He didn't even try to fight back. He just screamed. I hated it. Killing is bad. I didn't think anyone deserved to die for any reason, even the people that killed my family. It was horrible what they did, but I had no right to punish. No more knife. My body rushes the shooting guy, strangles him to death. He hits me, and hits me, and hits me, until my body doesn't let go. His face turns an ungodly shade of purple. And this continues for hours. At the end of the day, down maybe 10 of us, and a lot are really badly wounded. Arms are missing, blood everywhere. Craigs comes out. I try with every fiber in my being to move, but I can't. She picks a handful of the wounded ones, stick some kind of shot in them. They drop, probably dead. After that, everything starts blurring together. More missions, more death, more wounds. I think it has something to do with when the chip broke, but there's a couple things that are permanently burned into memory. Like a highlight reel of the most horrible things I watched myself do. An old man impaled by his own cane. Something with a pregnant woman and a socket wrench. Lots of blood and screaming and crying and sick crunching noises. They replay in my dreams. Don't worry about the mental health bits. I have that handled. I found a purpose. At some point, something snaps in my head. Chip probably burnt out. For the first time in months, maybe years, I have control. I try to move and then pass out. I think it was you guys that brought me here. Last couple months of figuring out what doesn't hurt me, and here we are.
Alright. Thank you for speaking with us. You said you found a purpose earlier. What might that be?
Yeah. I want to kill that demon Craigs. I think some parts of the implant still work. My body doesn't break. We were her playthings, not people. Toys to be taken apart, modified, put back together. Broken, smashed, just because she thought it was fun. Given all this, I think you want her dead too. Give me a gun and I will get her. Not even a gun, a knife, a pointy stick, a grenade. I won't ask questions. I can come straight back here. You can do whatever you want with me. Her still being alive is the only reason I haven't ended mine yet.
Document 3033-K. On E-1261, escape from captivity. E-1261 complained of malfunctions in the nutritional dispenser present in her containment unit. After being provided sensory deprivation equipment and restraints, E-1261 removed both and proceeded to attack staff. After neutralizing staff and escaping from her cell, she hijacked a regularly scheduled safe class anomaly transfer via helicopter between Site and Site, the location of POI-7701 at the time. As the transfer also included SCP, the transport staff were instructed to comply. A video log was recovered. The log begins with E-1261 entering the room with POI-7701. The log is as follows.
Hello, you bitch.
I thought our moles were better than this. It took you 6 whole weeks to find me. Old CI could have done it in 2.
Irrelevant. No one leaves the Chaos Insurgency.
Incorrect. You thought you would use a weapon of my own creation to cut off this loose end? In some kind of absurd poetic justice? Quis imperat dominum ipsum? That actually is pretty funny. Kinda. What a mess. Oh, you almost had me there. You're quite the resilient one. I can't say they haven't made progress. Much finer control than I used to have. Still can't get speech to work with my setup. I guess that's the cost of using a subdermal implant rather than an in-brain one. Can't control emotional response either. A shame, too. These would have been a hell of a lot easier to use than the other controller units. But we can't have a bunch of silent, crying flesh puppets. To be honest, I'm surprised you're still sane. A remarkable specimen. Hold still.
POI-7701 digs through a drawer, retrieving a field surgical kit. E-1261 is unable to observe this.
I haven't had an opportunity to examine any of you for a long time. And one drops right into my proverbial lap. What luck!
POI-7701 begins a live, standing vivisection of E-1261, beginning at the brainstem.
Oh, hush you. It's hard to cut cleanly when you're screaming bloody murder.
Vivisection occurs for 12 minutes, at which point E-1261 collapses. Foundation security forces retrieve the VIP 4 minutes later. After the incident, E-1260 was found to have asphyxiated due to a crushed windpipe. Autopsy revealed both SCP-3033-1 and -2 style implants. E-1261 was declared dead at the scene and cremated and interred at area per standard procedure. POI-7701 was relocated to another housing site near site per the terms of the agreement.
I really can't believe this, guys. I'm spending my immortal life working for my ex-captors, and I make one request. Just one. All I want to know is about my own past, and instead of helping me, they ignore a request, give me nothing but a single redacted file with absolutely nothing in it, and some good that stupid promise to do better from Robin. She doesn't even trust me with the fucking tea cabinet. All I wanted was to know who I was taken from me. Instead, I'm stuck in this unending life trying desperately to learn anything I can while my own team ignores me. This fucking sucks. Sera saying that I don't care. What does she even think that I do all day? Might as well show her. See what questions we have today. So you're saying that even anomalies are capitalist. When will this horror end? The anomalies themselves aren't capitalist necessarily. Their socioeconomic and political views differ depending on the anomaly, I think. It's more so that capitalism started using the anomalies. It's pretty useful for capitalism to have access to a super fast data transfer, magic contract, super weapon, that kind of stuff. Next. Hey, so there's this girl that I've been into ever since we were forced to survive in a colony together. Do you think there's one of those cool dating sim spheres near me so I can get some practice before asking her out? How about don't be a coward and just ask them out? The world has already ended anyway, so literally what's the worst that can happen? You've spent weeks looking at groups that didn't cause the end of the world. What's the point of this? Shouldn't we focus on learning about what could kill us now? Well, the real answer is that we don't know until we do our analysis, which takes time and travel. Like, fucking hell if I know. It's apparently literally nothing we do right now seems to matter. And so we spend so much time looking for evidence on any of this, trying to find files, scouring, traveling across the whole continent, and then we learn nothing. Every single time. Okay. I found this cute-looking bell, and whenever I ring it, a weird British butler comes out of nowhere to ask what I need. He says his name is Mr. Deeds. I think either way he seems to do whatever I asked. I'd be worried. Okay, that one's not that bad, actually. He's someone that can do any reasonable request, getting you food, water, items, shelter. He's gotten, like, any kind of food or drink that you want, bricks of, like, 99% pure gold, weaponry, board games. He'll play board games with you. He can also do tasks. He can't get SCPs or something like that. Like, he's basically just the perfect butler. He's a good dude. Take care of him. Could Wilsons have destroyed the world? You spent a while discussing them. Why didn't you touch on this? Okay. Wilsons couldn't destroy more than an animal if they tried. They're an anomalous animal shelter. Their animals could do some real damage, but Wilsons has them contained. Why do I even bother? These questions never get better. They're always the same confused mess. People seem to listen and care about what we have to say, but nothing ever changes. The world is still hell out there. What's the point anymore? I can't help people, so maybe I should just leave this place. Maybe I can actually do something good somewhere else. Wait, wasn't there an invitation last week? What, like the celebration guys? We did know Parker's name, so maybe there's some merit there?
So, Tess, are you feeling square? A little kitten stuck inside the same old box?
Hi? Who the hell are you?
Well, it looks like I'm your fairy godfather, here to bring you to Parker's grand ball. I believe you got our invitation?
Oh. So you're the, Celebration Initiative. Your name, I'll be honest, your name's kind of lame. Why do you know about Parker?
I know more than you'll ever learn here. But if you want to learn more about your sibling, well, why don't you come join us and ask them yourself?
Sorry. Why should I believe anything you're saying?
Well, what even is belief? To put your confidence in another? To trust your perceptions based on past lived experiences? Tell me, Tess, how many of those past lived experiences do you remember? I'd hazard a guess of not very many.
Who the hell do you think you are?
Do you really believe those who took everything away from you? What has the Foundation ever done for you? Leave you with nothing but a single redacted file? Is that your life, Tess?
I don't know.
Wouldn't you like a chance to get out? To really see your past with your own two eyes? Hell, to take control of your future? It's your choice, Tess. Are you coming? Would you rather stay a husk of a person in this box?
Fuck the Foundation. Dr. Robin has done nothing for me. The prick still won't even let me in the goddamn tea cabinet. And Sera is doing nothing but condescending to me all day long. What have they ever done to help me? And they don't even care about me. Just every other apparently living thing in this entire stupid world.
Parker's been waiting to see you, you know. They're worried about you. Let's not miss the ball.
Man, There really is nothing in our records on that other show. They must also be pretty new.
Dr. Robin? Who the frick is that in there with Tess?
Huh? Oh, shit! Who the hell are you?
Just your everyday insurgents of chaos. Last chance, Tess. Are you coming?
Fuck it. Let's go.
Cheers.
Tess! Dr. Robin! What the frick just happened?
Shit. I don't know. She's just gone.
Who was that?
Exactly what I feared. Shit. This is why we can't take the Chaos Insurgency lightly.
Oh, frick. Tess is gone. Dr. Robin, she's gone. What do we do?
Scan the room. Did they leave anything here that gives a hint or could end with us dead? Be careful. We don't know their goals.
Okay. Oh, frick. Okay, calm down, Sera. What have we got here? Sir, I found a blue envelope.
Are there any signs of it being anomalous?
I don't think so. Should I open it?
Go ahead.
You're hereby invited to partake in our memorial service. 1 week from when you read this. Cake will be provided. Be there.
Damn it. That doesn't sound good. This is obviously some sort of trap. Is there anything else?
There's a file on the desk here. It was under the invitation. Doesn't look like one of ours.
Hold on. Is that... Tess's file. Unredacted. You've gotta be kidding me!
Dr. Robin, does memorial service mean what I think it means?
A funeral, yes. God damn it!
You don't think they're going to hurt Tess?
I don't know, but I'd rather not find out. It says we've got 1 week, right? Man, I knew something like this would happen. Start looking for any information you can find on the Chaos Insurgency or Tess's background. We need anything and everything. This is gonna be a long-ass week. Shit, is the episode still rolling? For any of those still listening, stay hidden, stay safe, stay alive. I hope we'll see you next week. And as we close, I would like to say a thanks to those in real life who played a part in the production of this episode behind the scenes. First, I would like to thank Kevin MacLeod, who made the music that you heard in the background of this episode. You can listen to his music and more at incomptech.com. As well, I would like to thank the various authors whose work were used in this episode, including Tom Brown Jr., who wrote At Home in the Wilderness Part 4, Survival Cooking, from Mother Earth News, issue 76, which was used for the Survival Stew section of this episode. As well, Zin, who wrote SCP-348, A Gift from Dad. Lazar Lusternik, who wrote SCP-3033, A Human Weapon. Montgomery Kaiser, who wrote The Chaos Insurgency Hub. And Sai Bai, who wrote SCP-871, The Self-Replicating Cake. I'd also like to thank the various voice actors that you heard in this episode, including Esme, who did the CI speech and E-1261, John, who played the 3 interviewer roles for the segments in SCP-3033, Echo, who played E-1260, Emily, who played POI-7701 and one of the campers, and Noel, who played another one of the campers. I'd also like to thank my 2 co-hosts, including Taya, who plays the role of Sera, and Kit, who plays the role of Tess. And in this episode, Taya also played the role of Lucy, and Kit also played the role of Ace. We'll see you next time.